Trisha, Hawaiian. Meat lovers. Pepperoni.
Maddie, and I'm going to have to go pepperoni.
Pepperoni.
Colby, meat lovers.
Meat lovers. Colby. Pepperoni. Pepperoni. Am I on, by the way? Or do I have to be on? Do I have to sound like I'm on?
That's on.
It is on. Check 1, 2. You guys, you can hear me. Okay, gotcha. Thank you. All right, where do we stop at? Did you go? Did you go?
No. Sean and veggies.
And what? Veggies? Okay. There's always one. There's always one.
Cooper Yingling, and I like the Domino's barbecue pizza, but you have to tell them not to put it under the burner so long. It burns on the bottom since it's gluten free. Other than that.
There's always two. Okay.
My favorite is pineapple pizza.
Pineapple pizza.
My favorite is pepperoni, black olives, and bacon. I'm Keely, and my favorite is pesto pizza from Kaloa Pizza Kitchen in Kaloa.
Okay. Favorite pizza? Combination. Pesto. Barbecue chicken. With olives.
Sam, pepperoni. Barbecue chicken, Sam.
Maddie, pepperoni.
Ryan, Hawaiian.
Trent, I like pepperoni.
Brilliant mint. Andrew.
Nice to meet you.
And pepperoni and pineapple.
Pepperoni, pineapple.
Lexi and margarita.
Margarita. Okay. Hey, really dumb question. If I close these, will it get hotter or it will? So just keep it as is. Okay. All right. So here's the biggest question, the most compelling question I have for you for the week. Who snores the loudest out of your group? You pointing at Zach?
Oh, it's for sure. He also talks.
He talks. Way to go, man. And you yell?
I could wake up the whole room.
And, all right, what about the women?
No one snores.
I have trouble believing. My wife, she dreams and she'll go, I do. I snore loudly. All right, so last question for you. So what's been one topic that you found you connected with out of all the weeks you've been here? So like how many of you have been here like the whole time, like all September through now? I was like, okay, how many of you have been here just like this semester? Which topic did you find most engaging? Just throw it out.
James.
Book of James? Ephesians?
James or Exodus?
Exodus? That's my boy Jim Burns, the bald guy. Habakkuk. Which topic did you find least compelling?
Predestination.
Really? Okay. Jewish history? I'm offended. Someone else, which was the least compelling for you? With least interest? Least. History of the Bible? Yeah. Did you guys hear Fuzz Rana? Did you hear Fuzz Rana on the science guy? Guess what? Fuzz was I was his pastor. And I wish I could claim intelligentsia like from him, but like unbelievable. You should have in front of you a book. It's called The Mystery of Silence. Who did not get one? Anyone not get one? This is my book. This is my book. It's free. It's from my publisher, so thank my publisher. And if you like this book, if you don't like reading, give it to someone, like someone in your family or something. How many of you are readers? All right, how many hate reading? Okay, give it away. Give it to someone, or you can leave it here, not offended if you don't want it. It's my story of searching for wanting God to speak and being frustrated with sometimes not being able to hear God speak. It's a story about me. It's a story about Andrew, and it's pretty raw. It's pretty honest, and anyways, my gift, my publisher's gift to you guys. So enjoy that. Okay, so you're welcome. Yes.
Is this a picture of you?
It is not. The picture of me is on the very back page. Yeah, that's me and Rhonda and Andrew and Rachel. Okay, so I'm going to pass out little brochures here. If you'll just take and pass, I'm going to pass that side, this side, take one and pass. This is like your little, if you're into fill in the blanks, this is my fill in the blank to make it a lot easier for some of you who hate taking notes. If you're not a note taker, I get it. I'm a professor of youth ministry at Columbia International University. This is my 29th year there. Before that, I was a youth pastor for 16 years and a lead pastor of a college church. I live in South Carolina, which we have mountains and beaches, so it's almost Hawaii-like, but not quite. I'm about ready for a 3 o'clock nap. That's where I am on Eastern time right now. That's what my body's telling me. So can I just have a word of prayer, and then we'll get going. Father, may the words of my mouth and the meditations of all of our hearts be acceptable in your sight. Give us ears to hear, help us engage, help us discuss well. We love you. Thank you so much for these students and what you're doing in their lives. And I pray for their present, but also their future, that you would make clear as much as you can your will for their life and your plan for their life. And we pray this in the name of Yeshua. All God's people said. So, quick hitter on me. So I was raised in a Jewish family in Nashville, Tennessee. I lived in the same house for 12 and a half years. Every summer I went to, starting when I was 9 years old, and 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, I went to what's called, it's a Jewish athletic camp, which a Jewish athletic camp to me is like an oxymoron. You know what an oxymoron is? Yeah. Like two terms that are incompatible, like jumbo shrimp or ethical lawyer. Or pretty ugly. And so I went to this Jewish athletic camp, and then every summer I would come home. And so one summer, my last summer going to the camp, I came home, and my parents, we were watching a TV show, and they informed me that they were getting a divorce. And it was like someone got a knife or saw and just cut me open. And I remember running out of the room crying and got into my bed and just sobbed. And then the next morning I said to my mom, so now what? She said, well, we're moving. I said, where? She said, Cincinnati, Ohio. Well, that's where her mom was from. So we moved to Ohio, and I was so angry. I was so ticked off. I'd never met anyone from a divorced family. And so we drove there, and for the next 3 years, I decided that I was going to kind of live for me. So I was raised in a Reformed Jewish synagogue, which means that I went to a synagogue that believed in the first 5 books of Torah. But I was much more interested in the Jewish girls, okay, to be fair, than I was Torah. And so I was kind of always a little bit of a flirt growing up. And I think even young, God was grooming me into some kind of leadership role, but I didn't know what that was. So in high school, I ended up going kind of the grooming of leadership in the negative way. So I started to drink, and I started to smoke pot, and I started to do heavy drugs. My hair was down to here in high school. My senior year of high school, I was the #1 drug pusher in my high school, not proud of it. But I was kind of leading people, a bunch of people, kind of down the wrong path. And then I made a decision after getting in a car wreck and getting busted for possession of marijuana. I made a decision I'll go 1 weekend and not get high. All right, see if I can do it. So Friday I do fine, Saturday I can't do it. So my friend and I, named Mark Rink, who would later, 2 years later, take his life, he and I went to see my friend named Dwayne Noble, an African-American guy that he and I partied with together a lot. And so I remember knocking on his door saying, can we come in? He said, sure. And so I said, we were just wondering if you want to smoke some pot. And he said, no, I don't do that anymore. We're like, why not? He said, well, someone's changed my life. I was like, what's her name? He goes, no, it's not a girl. It's God. I said, oh, no, you're not one of those Jesus freaks. He said, no, Jesus doesn't make people into freaks, but he takes freaks and makes them into people. I went, okay, that was cute, 2 points. For the next 3 hours, he told me everything he knew about Jesus, because he had just become a Christian like 3 months before. So he said, did you know, David, that Jesus was Jewish? No. Did you know that his followers were Jewish? Nope. Did you know there's 300 predictions in the Old Testament about the coming Messiah? Did you know that? Nope. I knew none of this. Eventually, my friend Mark left because he couldn't handle it. Well, I stayed and listened because I was really interested. But I remember going home and saying to my mom, I was like, I just heard all this stuff about Jesus as Jewish, and our rabbi never talked about that at all. So I ended up going and interviewing the rabbi, who did not believe in life after death at all. Anyway, a lot of Jewish rabbis don't. In fact, a lot of Jewish people just believe you die, you die. So I was on this new search, and so I was given a Bible. I'd never really read the Bible other than the Old Testament, and so I continued to party, continued to do my own thing, and then I met a bunch of, at college, at Ohio University, I met a bunch of radical Christians. And I just one night just said, if Jesus is real, prove it. And the Lord just met me where I was, and eventually I threw away all my drugs, and he started to change me, and I started to move from the leadership of negativity to the leadership of positivity. Okay, so we're going to talk about this week leadership in a fun kind of way. Okay, so you need to know this about me as a professor, okay? I am not a lecture guy. Meaning, if you want 45 minutes of me talking at you, you will not get that. All right? Are you okay with that? Okay. So I'm into small groups. I'm into big groups. There'll be a touch of lecture, but I like the interaction. So here's my question for you, and I want you to talk to the persons to your right or to your left. Okay? Do you see yourself as a leader? Yes or no? And if you say yes, why? If you say no, why? I'm giving you 2 minutes. Do you see yourself as a leader? Mark, set, go. How about you? That's fair. Okay, it's getting quiet in here. What's that? I don't know. My secretary did it for me. I don't know how to do this stuff. Okay, what'd you say?
Yes.
Who said yes? How many of you said yes? How many said no? Wait, you can't do both hands.
I
I'm
know,
sorry.
You switched so fast. I was yes.
Yes, okay. How many of you said no?
Well, you can say both, because sometimes you're the leader and sometimes you're not the leader.
Okay, how many of you said I'm not sure? Thank you for the honesty. Okay, so who said yes and why? Yes.
Because I'm a man, it's my job.
What's that?
Because I'm a man and it's my job.
Okay. Yes.
Because I feel like that's how I was raised, and it's kind of just a mindset you have.
To lead. Okay. Sir.
I read devotion. I'm a poet.
Yeah, you lead a devotion at a youth group. Yeah.
I teach kids and other stuff like that.
Okay. Yeah.
Also, leaders lead by example, and I think my actions affect others.
Okay. All right. Someone else.
That's really cool. My mom raised me to be a leader, and I've been in worship leading all semester, a lot of it. So.
Okay. All right. So, how many of you would say that leadership is about humility? Okay. How many of you say that leadership is about public speaking? Okay. How about love? How many of you believe leadership is about loving people? Okay, if you agree with this statement, I want you to stand up. All humans are leaders. Okay, grab a seat. Thank you. That was good. All right, next question. All Christians are leaders. Yes. Trying to keep you awake, Coop. All right, sit down. Thank you, guys. Good. All right, get ready, Coop. Here it comes. All Christians have the potential to be leaders. Did you catch the difference? Okay. All right, you can grab a seat, Coop. The greatest hindrance to being a leader, stand up or don't stand up, the greatest hindrance to leadership is pride. Do you agree with that? Okay, good stuff, good. All right, so let me just give you a couple random thoughts from Dave, okay, on leadership, okay? Here we go. You guys got your little booklet, you like a little fill in the blanks? All right. Here we go. All right. So the book of Nehemiah would suggest to me principle number one, that nothing happens until someone provides leadership. Judges talks about there was a time of the judges that there was no leader and everyone did what they wanted. Okay, and so when I think about people like Martin Luther King Jr., when I think about John Kennedy, when I think of McDonald's, guy named Ray Kroc, I think of people who are kind of entrepreneurial. They start things. And I think that everyone did right in their own eyes, according to Judges, and there was no real leadership. So I have a feeling that, like, even me asking the dumb question, hey, if I pull this down or lift it up, will that create any kind of wind or gust? It's really driven by a leadership in me to ask that question. So I went to see this movie, this actually a TV series, maybe you've seen it, it's called The Chosen, okay, right? And so they went to these movie theaters. And so here's just a little bit of a piece of who I am, okay? So we're sitting in the movie theater, and there's only like 12 people in the whole movie theater, okay? And so any guys familiar with The Chosen, the series The Chosen? Okay, so we're there. I didn't love being there because it was so small. There was not much energy in the room. And so halfway into the movie, the sound went out. So you're watching this picture, but there's no sound. And so I'm kind of waiting, thinking, will anyone do anything about this? So we're waiting and we're waiting and waiting. Now it's 5 minutes, now it's 10 minutes. And so my wife's like, I'm thinking all along I should get up and do it, right? But I don't really want to be the bad news bearer of message of hey, there's no sound. And so Rhonda tasked me, she goes, you want to do it? I was like, yeah, I'll go do it. So I went and told the folks. So 5 minutes later, they get the sound back on, all right? Then we're in there 20 minutes, and all of a sudden, the sound continues, and the picture goes out, right? There's only 12 people. And so I was like, and I knew two of people behind me. I was like, hey, David, his name's David too. I said, you want to go do it? He goes, no, I'm not doing it. And so I said, Rhonda, do you want to do it? She goes, I'm not going. I said, all right, I'll go. So I got up and I said, hey, we have sound, but we have no picture, okay? So I get up and they fix it, okay? And then there's an intermission and they go back. And so we're 40 minutes into the last part of it and everything goes out. Like everything. Like no sound, no picture. And so I said to David, dude, you got to go do it now. He goes, I ain't doing it. I said, all right, I'll do it again. So I got up and did it again. Now, I'm not making myself out to be any great and awesome leader, but I think a leader has something in them that has some kind of initiative. some kind of drivenness to do this. Does that make sense? Any kind of sense to you guys? Yes? Hello? Yes? Okay, cool. All right, so if you don't have leadership, things tend to not happen. Secondly, leadership is influence. I like to define it this way. A person who has influence is leadership potential and leadership quality. 1 Timothy, which Rick has been talking about, I guess, the last couple of weeks. 1 Timothy 4:12 says, be an example of a leader. Now, if you want a definition, Chuck Swindoll says this: a leader is someone with God-given ability to influence others. Now, he's added a little piece of the God piece to it. He says, someone with God-given ability and responsibility to influence others for God's purposes. So, how many of you know someone who is in a, quote, leadership position, but you would say they're not a great leader? Does anyone know that? We see that in the government all the time, right? Someone's gotten into a role of leadership, and I work at a university where there's a number of people who are at the administrative leadership level who I don't think are great leaders, but they're in the role of leadership. And maybe you've met someone like that. Maybe you've met someone who's an authoritarian leader, and they're bossy and they're pushy and they're verbal bullies, and they beat people up kind of emotionally. So can you think of a movie that has what you would consider a good leader and a poor leader? And I'm going to give you, because I know some of you like movies. All right, can you think of a movie that has a good leader and a poor leader? And when you got it, shout it out. You got one? Tell us. Who's a good leader? Okay. Who's a bad leader? The Emperor. Very good. Okay. Someone else got one? You got one? Lion King.
Okay. Peter, Moses, is Mufasa and Simba.
Mufasa and Simba.
The two leaders, the baddest two, Hyenas and Scar.
Scar. Yeah, Scar's evil.
The chosen, Jesus is here. He's getting there.
I love Peter, man. I love Peter. I am Peter. Someone else got a movie?
Despicable Me.
Okay, come on. Come on. Which one? Which one? The first one?
For sure, the first one. So, all the little minions, they have the main character, which I forget his name. I'm bad with names.
Come on, man. Groot. Bad leader. They're attacking you. I know. They're ferocious.
So, he's terrible. He handles the minions like, he like beats them up and bullies them. It's not very nice. But then the little girls, they love the minions, and they're great little leaders over them.
Got another movie. Princess Bride. How many of you have seen Princess Bride? Oh, classic.
Okay, good leader is Buttercup and Wesley.
Buttercup and Wesley, okay.
And bad leader is Terwilligan and Humperdinck.
Humperdinck, that's right, Humperdinck. Any other movies? Got one?
Avengers.
Okay, who's good?
Captain America.
Yeah. Bad?
Loki.
Yeah, Loki, very good. Good stuff. Okay, so leadership is influence. And so if you're influencing people, you're a leader. In fact, my friend says, for most of us, you're a leader whether you like it or not. I think that in the Christian culture, we tend to have tiers of leadership. We tend to think of, in local church, we think of the pastor, the preacher, the speaker. They're the great leader. But I know a number of great communicators that are not great leaders. Would you agree? And I've met some great leaders who are not good communicators. They're not good speakers. Number 3, the test of leadership is followship. So in John 10:27, Jesus says, "My sheep follow me." Or 1 Corinthians 11:1, Paul says, "Follow my example as I follow Christ." Joel Barker says in his book Leadership, he says, a leader is a person who you will follow to a place you wouldn't go by yourself. A leader is a person you will follow to a place that you wouldn't go by yourself. So the question is anyone following you? Is anyone right behind you? I think it's really important to identify what's called traits of leadership, and it's called a philosophy of leadership traits, and we'll get to that in about 20 seconds. I want you to think about, for you, what is the bottom line, non-negotiable quality that you believe is essential for leadership? Don't tell me yet, but we're going to do a little bit of board work here. Think about what are the non-negotiables for you. And with the size of this group, we're probably going to have a lot of different answers, which is awesome. Number 4, the foundation of leadership is character, not charisma. Early on in my Christian life, as a young Jewish believer, the people that were in front of me were dynamic speakers. So I just assumed that that meant they were a great leader. But some of them ended up not being great with discernment. Some of them were not great at wisdom, but they were great speakers. Some of them were super anointed in speaking, but they weren't real loving. Or you've met some of the best communicators ever. They are as introverted as possible. I mean, as soon as they're done speaking, they have to get their cave time. And I'm okay with that, because I think some great speakers are introverts. And when I say introvert, I mean someone who's got to get alone. Does that make sense? How many of you have the introvert side? You got to have your cave time. How many of you are extroverts? Got to be with people. How many of you are a little bit of both? Okay. Does anyone have to get their cave time every day to survive? Yeah. So, you're looking puzzled. What's that?
She can't decide which one she is.
That's okay. Have you ever done a Myers-Briggs? I'm not sure. Have you? Has anyone ever done a Myers-Briggs?
Did we all do that for a semester?
No, that was the Enneagram.
Booed at the Enneagram. I just don't like it because I've done it 7 times. I've been a different number every time. So I was like, I just don't trust it. With Myers-Briggs, I've been consistent for 20 years. I'm what's called an ENFJ. So I'm an extrovert, I'm intuitive, I'm a feeler, and I'm a P or J, which means I'm organized. Okay. Number 5. Leadership is more caught than taught. So for years, I watched a guy named Joe Bishman, and he was a mentor to me. Then I had a guy named Mark Rowland, and a guy named Michael Slaughter. I didn't learn leadership by taking a class, by the way. It's more caught than taught. It's more experiential. Now, there are some who are in the secular culture who've written thousands and thousands of books. If you go to a Barnes & Nobles or you just Google leadership, you will get 10,000 books that pop up. Well, one of the dominant theories that I studied in my master's and my doctorate later on is called leadership trait philosophy or theory. And so there's a number of traits that people list. Okay, so I need, it's probably going to be a girl, not always. I need someone who's got good handwriting. I need a volunteer, good handwriting. They're pointing at you. You won't have to say a word. You won't have to say a word. You'll just have to draw or write. Okay, who are you?
Lily.
Lily.
Yes.
Say Lily. All right. So,
Terrible.
I know that was awful, wasn't it? Would you rather them do something better?
No.
Okay, you're so embarrassed already, aren't you? All right. I want you to think of some traits that you would say a leader is blank or a leader has blank. So like a one word. And she's going to write all of them, as many as we can come up with.
Respectable.
All right, do it kind of like in a respectable.
Love.
Love. He said love. Mm-hmm.
Encouraging. Trustworthy.
Humble.
Confident.
Somebody said trustworthy.
Trustworthy as well. A good communicator.
We don't care about your spelling.
Okay.
Sacrificial. Trustworthy, confident.
Sacrificial.
Initiative.
Initiative.
Oh, and I heard something
Away.
completely different.
All right, start on, move over that to that other side. There you go. Humble. Articulate.
Someone say communicator.
Would that be the same as articulate?
One's being able to speak in front of the
Visionary.
Fearless.
Visionary. Okay, good one.
Fearless.
Hardworking.
Inspirational.
Relation.
Inspirational.
Relational.
Adaptable.
Approachable. Come on, Lily.
Coop, you're waking up.
Change.
Persistent.
Driven.
Energetic.
Is your pen running out? Yeah, there's a bunch of them underneath you.
Organized.
Organized.
Oh, yeah.
That's Nehemiah, right? That's your book. Yep.
Seize the potential.
Say that again.
Seize the potential.
What's that mean?
They see the potential in each person. that
Okay.
they-
Knowledgeable.
Wise.
Wise. Oh, wise. Yeah.
You're doing great, Lily. Creative.
Positive.
All right.
Majestic.
Majestic.
Oh, I like that.
Two more.
Hungry for change.
Is that the same as adaptable?
Being able to change.
What did you say, Lexi?
Hungry for change. Focus.
Zealous.
Lily's running out of pens here. You're doing great.
Zealous.
Zealous.
Z-E-A-L.
Z-
U-S.
Okay, that's why that just looks weird.
it's Z-E-A. Z-E-A. I think it's Z-E-A-L-O-S.
Active. Active.
Active. All right, let's stop there. Okay. Dumb question. Does any leader have all of these things?
Yes.
I say no. Right? Right? So if you base everything on leadership theory, then none of us are leaders. If you have to have all of those, right? Does that make sense? Does anyone have any of these? All of these? No. All right. Pick one. Let's kind of have a group therapy moment. Pick one that you think that most of us in this room have. Let's put a little asterisk by it. Let's have a kind of a group moment here. Which one do you think that most of us have of any of these qualities? Okay, well, hang on. I'm hearing encourage, respectable. What else?
Fearless.
Observant.
Fearless.
Creative.
Away.
Okay, let's stop with that. All right, let's get a different pen, Lily. Let's put like a thumbs down, if you can do a thumbs down. You can do that, right? Which one do you think that most of us do not have?
Roast session.
If you look at me, you'll know that I am not majestic, okay?
Just gotta do an X.
Yeah, you can do an X. Yeah, an X works great, yeah. But yeah, I think you misspelled confident, but who cares?
Rested.
How about English spelling? Which one?
Rested.
She got it.
Dependable.
Organized.
Yeah, that's persistent.
Hardworking.
Already dirty done.
Visionary.
Energetic.
Encouraging.
Consistent.
Active.
Articulate.
Initiative.
You're saying not everyone in this room is articulate, right?
Sacrificial.
Encouraging.
We're not sacrificial.
Okay, let's stop there, Lily. Okay, pull out a different color, okay? All right, which one do you think about you that you feel really confident about that you have? Name one.
Fearless.
You think you have fearless, okay? So put a plus. Can you put like a plus sign or a check sign? There, that's good. Yeah, a little Christian cross. There you go. A little Christian cross. Which one do you feel? I know this has got to be a humble moment, but which one do you feel confident? Yeah, I'm pretty good at this.
Energetic.
Thank you.
Brave.
Brave.
Organized.
Positive.
Positive makes positive.
Someone else who I'm not hearing, anyone who I'm not hearing from. Back row.
Persistent.
Thank you.
Great question.
Thank you.
Seth, you're all of these but like two. Let's go.
Active. Okay.
All right.
There.
Paige, where are you? Observant.
Trustworthy. We have that.
Love.
Brave.
Consistent.
All right, let's stop on that. All right, last one. This is going to be like a smile. Okay, you can do a smile. Which one would you like to grow more in? In other words, this would be at the bottom of the ladder rung. There's like I'm really strong at this, but I'd like to grow in that one a little bit more.
Humble.
Humble.
Oh, that one's missing an eye.
Now they're harping on you. Yeah, where's the encouragement? Come on.
Focus.
Focus.
Brave.
Wise.
What does zealous mean?
Zealous.
Fearless.
A go-getter.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, it could almost be out of control. Zeal, think of the word zeal. So like driven, focused, on fire, excited about something. Could be a cause, could be a person.
Does it have to do with zealous?
Yeah.
What's the one?
Remember,
above
one of the
watch?
disciples was named the Zealot.
Yeah.
Lily, what's the one above watch?
Above life.
Oh, Steve.
I
I thought it said Steve too. That's what I said.
All right, now, last task for you, Lily. Okay, last task. Can you name either a biblical character or a kind of a modern day, or maybe they could have lived anywhere up until now. Can you think of someone, not on the positive, but they don't exhibit these things, okay? So let's start with respect. Can you think of a Bible character? There's probably like 300 of them, but can you think of a Bible character that they don't fit these qualities? Let's just name some. So who would you say is not you would say is not respectable?
Judas.
Huh? Judas. Okay, Judas. You want to write that right up there, Lily?
King Saul.
Can you think of someone? Let's just do one at a time. Can you think of someone who's not loving?
Nebuchadnezzar.
Okay. Just put Neb. Just put Neb. Someone who's not encouraging. What's that? Wife of Job, okay. Although I tend to give her a little slack. I mean, she's just lost 10 kids, you know. But yeah. Solomon, not humble? Okay. Moses was humble. What about confident? Someone that was not confident. Very good. Yeah, Jeremiah. Who would you say is not trustworthy? Okay. Is this now should make you feel a little bit better about your leadership? Okay. Who's not sacrificial? We won't go through all of these. It's too much time. Who? Jonah. Rested?
Paul.
Paul rests from no man.
No, he had a lot of He had a lot of. Jesus took naps. Amen. Amen to naps, right? Observant. Is that observant?
Who was the one king that got the sword, put all in his fat?
Oh, the fat dude.
His guard.
You're talking about Ehud and Eglon? The fat king? Yeah. Eglon. Can you think of someone in Scripture who does not have initiative? Can you think of someone who doesn't have initiative?
Who was the dude who was with Deborah? Who had Deborah go to war with him?
That was Gideon.
Gideon?
No.
Not Gideon?
No, Deborah the...
Prophetess?
Yeah. Who was in the Old Testament? Who was the other dude? Started with an E.
Jonah.
She has a theme here with Deborah the prophetess, and I don't know who that was.
What was the man who was like,
Huh?
Barak?
Oh, Barack. B-A-R-A-K. Yeah, Barack. That's not Barack Obama, by the way. Okay. Okay, that's good. Thank you, Lily. Give it up for Lily. She's so humble, she hates it. I can tell. I know you do. So can you see that if you were to say articulate, you would say, well, yeah, there were a lot of great speakers in Scripture, but you've got a number of them like I'm just a kid, I can't do it, and Moses, like I stutter, and so if you're saying, oh, in order to be a great leader, you have to be a great speaker, well, immediately that eliminates a ton of people. Are you tracking with me on that thought? So if I say, what about wanting to lead? What if I don't have a desire to want to lead? Well, that would be Jonah. Okay, then that eliminates you. What about faithful to spouse? Well, King David, cross him off. Okay, so all of these traits, as great as they are, no one has all of them. It's impossible. It is impossible. If you want someone who's like relational, get rid of Apostle Paul. Dude, he and I are not hanging out together. He's not a hangout kind of guy. You know what I'm saying? He is too driven, and so he's not gonna like millennials. You're too laid back, right? He's like just driven. So leadership is more caught than taught. And it's not about leadership traits at all. If I were to say, what's the one non-negotiable for you, of all of those, which would you pick? For you, not for anyone else, for you. Brave. You're saying humble. Someone else. Loving.
Fearless.
Loyal.
Fearless.
Someone else. Got it.
Trustworthy.
Look at that leadership skill right there. Initiative. Boom. Someone else. Non-negotiable for you. Loving. Okay. So it's important to be able to identify for your soul where you're strong and where you're weak. And so probably where you're strong, you don't have to add that much to it. But where you're weak, you might need to notch it up a little bit. And then number 6, the moment you stop learning, here's your fill in the blank. The moment you stop learning, keyword is learning, you decrease your leadership quotient. The more you get to the point of thinking you've got it all together, you don't. Ecclesiastes 10:10, if the axe is dull and its edge unsharpened, more strength is needed, but skill will bring success. Someone said, if you had 5 minutes, just 5 minutes to cut down a tree, what would you do? And the person's answer was, I'd spend 4 minutes sharpening the saw. So wherever you are in leadership skills, wherever you are on the leadership quotient thing, try to pay attention to where you're strong and where you're weak. You can't be strong in everything, okay? And that's part of that problem with the leadership trait philosophy is it's frustrated so many people to make them think they are not leaders when I think that most people really are. Try doing anything without the skills that God has given you. Is like chopping wood without a sharp saw. So leadership can be learned. Leadership can be incrementally increased over the years of life. So here's what I want you to do with a Q&A time, okay? I want you to start with question 1, talking to people to your right or to your left. Are there leadership skills that you believe cannot be given or transferred to another person? Are there skills that cannot be given to another person? Let's say you're humble. Can you give that to someone? Let's say you're a good speaker. Can you give that to someone? Let's say you're wise. Can you transfer that to another person? All right, I'm giving you 1 minute, and then I'll hear your feedback. Ready, set, go. Here's your question. Go. Okay, what you got? Yes. Hardworking? What do you mean by that?
You can teach someone to work hard, but they have to want to work hard.
So you can't transfer that. You can model it, right? Okay, someone else? Yeah.
I don't think you can actually transfer any of these.
Okay, explain. Good.
Because that person has to want to become any of those things, and if that's not their desire, and they're not going to put the effort into it, and they're not
Someone else? Yeah.
So we were talking about how we think all these are like mostly gifts from God.
Yeah.
And so God provides you with all of these attributes. And I don't think you can necessarily transfer one to another person, but I think you can help them acquire or build up, like if they're less confident, you can help them gain confidence.
Like that. Someone else?
Trustworthiness. Trustworthiness.
What about it? Can you transfer it? No? No way. Why not?
Because you can't tell if someone's lying or not if they're a good liar.
Okay, I like that. Someone else? Am I hearing a general consensus? No, you can't. But you can model it. Is that what you're saying? Are there any skills? Are there any of these traits up here that's you could transfer?
Transfer or teach?
I think better word for me is probably better than even transfer is impart. Can you impart it?
What's the timeline on it? Because like for knowledge and wisdom, that's important. Because you can transfer and impart that on anyone, but it requires time.
Yeah. Yeah, a skill set for me that I think is potentially transferable is management, organization. I think that's an incremental thing, Christian, non-Christian. You can help impart some of that. Even the most disorganized person can grow in that area and get a little bit more organized. They still have to want it. Yeah, you're right. Absolutely. Question 2. Talk to me on big group here. Are leaders made or are they born? If you think they're born, put your hand up. If you think they're made, put your hand up. If you think they're both, put your hand up.
I missed that. I'm sorry.
If you weren't listening, put your hand up. Okay. Are leaders made or are they born?
Me.
Okay, someone talk to me. Someone talk to me who hasn't talked to me yet. You haven't talked to me yet.
Yeah, I think you can be born with like the characteristics that go into leadership, but I don't think you're just born a leader. I think you have to work on maybe those abilities that you were given when you were born and practice leadership.
Did any of you have parents that tell you when you were a little kid that you were a leader? Or like you were born to lead, or you had the gifts? Emma, yes? What did they tell you?
I've always done like music since I was little, and we were always just kind of like, it was more like a gravitational thing.
Uh-huh.
We were like, oh, that's cool, and it was inspirational towards other people. Being so young, they always just told me like, oh, like people are gonna watch you, people are gonna follow you, hold up your image for that.
Any of you have parents that would use kind of the phrase, you have great potential? Which was almost like a slam to you have potential, but you're just not going to get there, right? I used to get that all the time. You have the potential, because I was not a good student growing up. I was not good with grades. I learned a lot, but I wasn't a good grade person. Yes?
Oh, I was just playing with my pen.
No, go ahead. Sorry, I got you.
What do you want me to talk about?
What we're talking about.
Tell us about the loudest fart you've ever done.
Actually, I want to hear that one.
You're on. They paid me to come here, so I might as well ask you, right?
I was in middle school, and I was with my church, well, a couple people from my church, we did this thing called Bible Bowl, and we were on the bus ride back to our town.
It's amazing how she remembers this, right?
And
It was sure.
we had stopped to get, we stopped at this restaurant that was combined with Pizza Hut and Taco Bell, so we ate that, and then we still had an hour bus ride back, and it was not sitting well in my stomach. The bus was completely quiet, everyone was almost asleep,
And you let it go?
And I was like, oh no, it couldn't hold it anymore.
You let it loose, huh? How old were you?
I was like,
Just like a year ago.
I heard it was last night, but
I was in 6th grade at the time.
See, I really think being a leader, part of being leadership is being vulnerable and honest and transparent. I really do. I really do. So thank you for the fart story. Yes, not a fart story. Go ahead. Okay.
I think that it depends because God is sometimes chooses his leaders without their having the abilities, and like Moses obviously, or David, or other people, Paul, they were just like they were literally chosen by God before they were born for what they were gonna do. So it depends on if it's God's choice of their leadership or if it's like you're growing and learning how to become a leader.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there are a lot of leaders that are behind the scene leaders. They don't want to be up front. Example, Lily. You didn't want to really come up here, did you? I mean, you were okay. Okay. But some of you are leaders, but you're quiet, and that's okay. Third question. Are all people leaders or are all Christ follower leaders?
Leaders or influencers, are they supposed to be the same word or not?
Good question. Yes.
I think we learned from whenever we did the stand up, sit down, that not everybody's a leader, but everyone has the potential to be a leader.
Yeah, do you guys agree with that? I don't think so, Coop. Coop, I thought you said everyone's a leader.
Everyone is a leader, but some people don't recognize their leadership skills until it is instilled in them. So I think everyone is a leader, but some people don't realize that.
Isn't that a fancy way of saying everyone has the potential to be a leader?
Yeah.
Yes, what I just said.
Way to call them out.
Well, no, I was just explaining because he called me out.
So, someone once said that you will know what kind of influence you had at your funeral.
That's very true.
But will we know that if we're dead?
Well, if
You're in
believe
heaven.
Going to heaven, yes.
I don't know if you're in heaven, if you're looking down knowing what's going on here. I don't know about that.
I don't know. I think I'd be too busy distracted by God's abundance.
Yeah. I think you're probably right.
I don't know if all peoples are leaders, but I think all Christ followers are leaders.
Okay. So what's the one non-negotiable quality in being a leader, in your opinion? Yes.
Love.
Okay.
Because that's one of the biggest, it's the two greatest commands we have from the Lord, and I think that's what this life is all about, is just showing love to other people and loving God. So,
I don't know. A lot of diligent people in the world are not very loving.
True.
A lot of stuff done.
Yeah, I've met a lot of abusive leaders that are not loving.
Is this about a good leader, or is this just a leader in general? You can be a really bad leader and be a leader.
What's your non-negotiable quality on leader? That's the question. Like, what can you, like, not go with?
One that I would follow, or one that I would be, or like what plays more to that question?
If you were to have a leader, you wouldn't follow them if they did not have this quality.
That's good. That's a good way to say it. Yeah. Do you have one in your mind?
Oh,
Humility.
humility.
Trustworthy. You're following someone, you don't want to fall off a cliff. You want to be able to trust that they're actually leading you somewhere you're supposed to be going.
Would someone say Hitler was a good leader?
Well, yes.
Not morally good.
Just remember, there's 2 Jewish people in here. Just remember that.
He was a good influencer, he was a bad leader.
Huh?
Good influencer, he's a bad leader.
Did you hear that? Good influencer, bad leader. Yes, I see that hand. Who? Hitler? Okay. He was an outstanding speaker. Someone else, non-negotiable quality in being a leader, in your opinion? Yeah.
I'd say loyalty, because it doesn't matter how good of a leader they are. If they go to the other side, then they have great leaders.
Okay. Yes.
I'm gonna say love again because I feel like if you're truly loving, then humility will come from that, and encouragement will come from that. And being respectful, like you don't really gain respect by like doing things that are respectful. You just gain respect by having integrity, and integrity comes from loving others and through and through just like being loving, and I feel like love kind of covers all of it.
I don't even see godly up there. Is godly up there? We don't have godly up there.
Are you our next class?
Huh?
Are you our next class?
I am.
Because our class technically ended 15 minutes ago.
It did. Well, then we did all the questions. So what does that mean? We have to stand up or move around or what? What do we do?
We usually have a 15-minute break between classes.
All right. Is that it? Thanks for telling me. I wouldn't have just kept going. Okay.
Usually it's 45 minutes.
Yeah, I was going to stop here and then let you take a break now. So I was ready to take the break.